Hi, this is Jeff Davis with the Davis Group, coming to you with another edition of Agent Training. Today we're going to be looking at Agent Training number 14, Absentee Owners. Now, what's an absentee owner? It's an owner basically that does not live within the property. You've got different types of ownership. You have the owner occupied, where the owner stays in the property. You have non-owner occupied, where a lot of times there's a renter in there. When you have an absentee owner, typically is someone that not only does not stay in the property, but a lot of times they don't even live close to the property. These owners a lot of times want to sell for a variety of reasons. It's very, very hard to manage property when you're not around because you really don't know what's going on. To effectively manage property, you either have to be there to see it or have eyes there to see it for you. Not every every owner wants to be a landlord. So there are people that, for example, let's say you got a job offer in another state, you took the job and then you rented the house out, and now you're getting trouble. You're having to deal with things. You're getting calls because stuff is broke, or you've got a vacant property and now you've got to worry about vandalism. So absentee owners for us as realtors can be a gold mine. If you find somebody who owns a property that they do not live in and they do not want, you have what's called a motivated seller. Our job as realtors is to find these people and to offer our services to them. Now, there are a few ways you can do this. I have to admit to you, it's not easy to find an absentee owner because usually when you start looking into property, you assume the person that's there is the owner. Someone has to come and tell you that it is, of course, they're a tenant or someone else that doesn't own the property and the owner lives somewhere else. Now, here's the challenge. When you're trying to connect with that owner and the owner doesn't live there, finding their information is very difficult because you have to find where they live. You need either an email address or a phone number. And sadly, a lot of people are just not willing to give that to you. Even tenants are not looking to just give you the seller information. A lot of them won't do it because they know that if the seller sells the property, there's a good chance they have to move. So they don't have the motivation to connect you with the seller. Now, you can try talking to neighbors, seeing if possibly they have some information. Sometimes when an owner leaves a property, they'll instruct the neighbors and let them know that if something goes wrong, hey, reach out to me at this number, let me know, because they have created somewhat of a friendship with that neighbor. But that's not often. It happens sometimes. So this is a great source, but you have to find them. Now, there are companies out there that actually will create lists for you where they will get you the absentee owner's information. That's one way to reach them. Again, approaching the tenant, but instead of letting them know that you want to get the property sold, see if there's a way that you could leave a card and have them get the owner to reach out to you. So you could use the approach of, got people that want to buy in this neighborhood. They want to be landlords. They're looking for good tenants. Looks like you guys are good tenants. So if the owner does want to sell, then you might end up with a new, landlord per se, but you don't necessarily have to move. So think about the different people that could be absentee owners. Rental property owners, as we've been talking about. Also, people that are being foreclosed on. A lot of times they have left the property, sometimes voluntarily, sometimes involuntarily, but they still have ownership rights and they still have the ability to sell. Now, another one, sad to say, are slum landlords. These are landlords that do not take care of their properties. They don't live there and they don't care what happens to them. Now, sometimes if the property's in the right area, this could be a good listing for you because now you get a chance to take a property that's a slum landlord's been, dealing with, and get it sold to someone who will be a more responsible landlord. You could actually be helping the community when you do these things. Now, another area where you have absentee owners are second homeowners, people that have two houses. Again, sometimes people inherit a house. So they didn't necessarily buy it, but maybe it belonged to their parents or something, and now they've got it. So they've got their home and this home, and they're not looking to be landlords. So what do they want to do? They want to sell the house. You also have people that are forced to move. There are situations, again, maybe you got a job out of state and you were forced to move before selling. Ideally, you want to have real estate that you want. That's the ideal situation. But there are people that have real estate they do not want. They don't want the hassle, they don't want the challenges, etc. And these, again, become excellent people to list. Now, sometimes we can have title companies do a search for us. They can help us to find the owner's mailing address. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. If you do find where an owner is, and let's say they're out of state, you may not get their phone number or an email, so you have to send them a letter. And you can just send one letting them know that you're a realtor and that you would like the opportunity to talk to them about possibly selling their house. Finally, you can always talk with rentals, and you can just see if you can get to the landlord and see if they want to sell. So again, absentee owners are a great source of listings, but finding them is the challenge. And so I think that as you are trying to develop your prospecting, looking at different places you want to prospect, keep this in mind. But it's not the type of thing that you get up every day and you focus 100% of your attention on. It's got to be something that you do in addition to other things that you do. Again, this is Jeff Davis with the Davis Group. Another edition of Agent Training. We'll see you on the next one.